Okay, like for example, we have this concept in Islam that, for example, you understand intellectually, you understand, the Quran tells you to look at the heavens and the earth and look at the way everything is created, and you understand that everything follows diligently the laws, the orders of the Creator. Okay, so there is one Creator, there is one power above everything. Now, this is information, but how do you make this information become your mindset? You know, through repetition. Okay, this is the concept that actually the Napoleon Hill introduces, and I believe as Muslims we can apply this to worldly matters and matters of the afterlife. And it's just amazing. It's a gift that we have as Muslims, that we don't have to divide things that are not supposed to be divided. Okay, so for example, actually Napoleon Hill teaches you to sit down, to write down your goal, whatever your goal is, and whatever you're willing to give up for it. Like for example, I'm gonna do this work and try to get this outcome. And you repeat this every day in the morning and in the evening. Why does he say that? Because whatever you repeat to yourselves will be embedded in your subconscious, okay? And therefore that will become a true belief in yourself. And you will start acting, whether you want it or not, according to that belief, okay? So that's the concept. Now, just take a look at the concept of dhikr. When you sit down in the morning and you say that God is transcendent, subhanallah, and you say that actually all thanks and all praises belong to God, and you start counting and recognizing all the good things you have, you become grateful. Why? Because you're just repeating to yourself, these are the things that I need to be grateful for. Every time you say Alhamdulillah, because you should say it with tafakkur, not as a parrot, you know. That's another problem, that we ritualize some of these things. But actually there is a great hikmah, a great wisdom behind them. And then you say Allahu Akbar, God is greater. Whatever failure I have, whatever problem I have, God is above this. I mean, He's able to fix this within a second, you know. And then all these phrases we repeat again. There is no power, there is no energy, there is no movement except through God. La hawla wa quwwata illa billah. Hasbi Allahu wa ni'mal wakil. I mean, God is sufficient for me, and He's the perfect organizer of all the affairs. Why would you have to repeat that so many times in the morning and in the evening? Because it creates a mindset, you know. When you start saying, well, God is enough and He has the power over everything, so everything actually is possible if I trust God, as the Quran says, وَمَا يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقُهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. If you have God, I mean, if you are conscious of God, He will give you a way out. So whenever you have some failure or some negative thing, you have a way out prepared for you. You just need to be conscious of who is in control and who is in power. And then He says, وَيَرْزُقُهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. I mean, you won't even imagine, and you will get the rizq, I mean the provision, and you will ask yourself, where on earth was all this provision before? You know, so the way, I mean, it's really important for you Muslims, the one who needs to succeed in the dunya and the akhirah, because everything is within Islam. Islam is complete. It doesn't ask you to divide things through false dilemmas. This practice of dhikr in the morning and in the evening or the afternoon, whereby you sit down and repeat the truth a lot of times, this truth, this tawakkul, this reliance, this strength in character will become embedded in you. And sometimes people will ask you, what did you do to get this? And actually it's quite easy, and the Prophet taught it to you. But sometimes things we have, we just take them for granted. The Prophet taught us, yeah, it's just a ritual. We just take it for granted. Wallahi, if all the qualities that the Prophet taught you, you were practicing them, we would be the most successful people in all. People say, what do you mean success? Everything. Everything you can imagine by success, we would be having it. You know, so just focus on these repetitions and these adhkar. Just learn them, because I think they are really important to create a mindset, a positive mindset.
Yeah, I just want to emphasize on what he was saying. وَمِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبْ يعني يَرْزُقُهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبْ, that He will provide for them from where they don't see it. I actually took a snap or a screenshot of a part of the book which I was reading as a PDF. So it says, when the opportunity came, he was talking about Barnes here, which I can't remember what he exactly did. but he said that is one of the tricks of opportunity is that it has a slight habit of slipping in by the back door, and often it comes disguised in the form of misfortune or temporary defeat. Perhaps this is why so many fail to recognize opportunity, because sometimes, you know, as soon as something bad happens to you, the first thing you start thinking, why did I do wrong? Why this? Why that? And you just focus on the negative things. But me, I take as you know, as an actual experience that I had in the beginning of the year. I was actually finishing my studies in Egypt, and I got kicked out of Egypt. Now, if I didn't get kicked out of Egypt, which at that time it was actually a misfortune, it was a temporary defeat. Probably most of the money that I made all up until now, I wouldn't have make it, because in Egypt I'm in another kind of you know, vibe. And at the same time as well, it's not just about the money I made, but what I have learned throughout this process, because obviously I made a lot of mistakes. So these mistakes right now are going to be the future success that I'm going to have by this experience. So yeah.
I want to emphasize the thing about false dilemmas. People will say, you follow religion or science? We have all. Do you follow reason or revelation? We have all. Do you want to succeed in this life or the next life? We have all. Don't let people deceive you through these false dilemmas. To me, these false dilemmas are, to me, the aqidah of the shaitan. These are the beliefs that people try to put in your mind, that you should want this or that. You should try to get this or get that. No, I can get all. You know, and that's one of the gifts that we have as Muslims, that we aspire to everything. Okay, we do aspire to everything. Don't let anyone tell you that you don't. You know, because that's just satanic. That's my perception of it. And then I want to add a statement of the Messenger of God, alayhi salatu wasalam. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ajaban li amr al-mu'min." The issue with the believer, I mean the situation or the case of the believer, is just amazing. Why? The Prophet said, because whenever something good happens to him, he is grateful to God, and that's good. It's good means that you will get reward from God, but it means that it's good for yourself, for your mental health. It's good to be grateful. It's good for you. And then what does he say? That when something bad happens to him, a musibah, he's patient. But actually the amazing thing about the word sabr is that it means patience. I mean, you don't get crazy, but it actually it also means perseverance. Okay, you go on, you keep on doing it. Okay, so whenever something bad happens to you, whenever a musibah, a calamity befalls upon you, I mean, you don't do like, you don't just accept it and sit down and cry. Okay, you just accept it as part of the test. It's just a part of the test. I've learned something, now I can move on with this thing that I learned, that I needed to learn. So the Prophet said, he has sabr. He has sabr. Whenever something bad happens to the person, he has sabr. This means that he has patience, but it also means that he persists. Okay, so he was talking about persistence, and sabr. It's amazing that it means both things. It means the passive patience, but it means the active persistence. Okay, and people who persist, they are the ones that will get to whatever they want. Okay, so again, just take those passages from the Quran that deal with struggle, that deal with calamity, and they overemphasize the concept of persistence, sabr. Whenever something bad happens to you, it's part of the test. You needed that knowledge to move on and to do things better. So it's part of it. Something bad is actually good. Okay, you change that in your mind. When something bad happens to me, when a misfortune happens to me, it's good. Okay, why it's good? Because I needed to go through this to get to my goal. Okay, even, and that's some of the gifts that you have as a Muslim. Even if you don't understand what's going on now, why, what's the hikmah, why did this happen, there is a hikmah. And that's one of the benefits of repeating to yourself all the times you need. It doesn't matter how many times. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Okay, I just want to emphasize that.
Okay, I want to take two parts that I actually screenshot and kind of benefit you guys with. One part of them is, it says, when you begin to think and grow rich, you will observe that riches begin with a state of mind. So that's basically what we have been talking about, and the most important thing. And then down here, another thing, Obviously, these just little parts of the whole book. The book has 260 pages. So right here it says perhaps the meaning may be made clearer through the following explanation as to the way men sometimes become criminals. So it gives an example that, and this is stated in the words of a famous criminologist, when men first come into contact with crime, they abhor it. If they remain in contact with crime for a time, they become accustomed to it and endure in it. And if they remain in contact with it long enough, they finally embrace it and become influenced by it. So the whole summary of this is basically that the more you repeat something, the more you tell yourself something, even if it's not true, at the end you are going to finish by believing it. And the funny thing is that I'm actually subscribed for Tai Lopez, what is it called? Mentor Box. I don't even know how I forgot seeing all these ads, but Mentor Box, and there is someone who is LeBron James' mindset coach. So even big people like this, anything that you want to achieve, you need a mindset. It's just believing in yourself. It's easy to say, but it's actually so. It's not as easy to just go about it and apply it.
Yeah. One of the amazing things the Quran teaches us, I mean, sorry for just pumping up verses from the Quran and Hadith, but when you study a lot of ilm, and then you study, Islamic knowledge, and then you study other fields of knowledge, it's just amazing. It's just amazing how God says in the Quran, we will show them our signs في الآفاق وفي أنفسهم, in all the universe and inside themselves, because it's actually true. Wallahi, this is true. Whenever you get out to study any field, you will find that what people research, what people find out, the Prophet was telling you. I'm not saying that you should go out just to find confirmation, because you can find new information which can be built upon the basis, but the basis of knowledge. Okay, that's what I mean. So one of the things that amazed me from this book is that it gave you a list of the major attributes of leadership, and I wanted to share that with you. The first is unwavering self-confidence and courage based upon knowledge of yourself and your occupation. Well, I would say that the basis of the person who wants to lead a campaign for whatever is this. Know yourself and be aware of your capabilities, okay? And God says in the Quran, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. We have created the human being in the best or in the most adapted of taqweem, the constitution, even balance, if you want to translate it like that. So as a human being, you should be proud of yourself. This is an amazing concept in the Quran. People try to tell you, well, but you don't have the intelligence. You're not as tall as others. You're not as white or as black as others. You don't have this capability. You don't have this quality. I don't care what you say, I have been created perfectly for whatever I needed to do, okay? But who told you that? That's Tawheed, okay? The one who has done all of this, he has hikmah, and he knows what he does. This, to me, this is the revolution of the human mind, to know this reality, okay? Self-control, it's just amazing, because if you don't control yourself, you can control others. Quote-unquote control. You can manage or organize a group of people, and if you do, you actually become an example for people. You set an example. They learn how to be a leader, and this is one of the amazing things of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. What he taught you through words and through actions. Why? If you're a person, like for example, you find a lot of hadiths where people just go to the Prophet and insult him. And in one of those hadiths, Aisha really gets offended, and she replies back. In another hadith, it's Abu Bakr. And the Prophet actually, he tells them, don't do this, okay? I actually heard a non-Muslim historian, a woman, she was saying that the way Prophet Muhammad won people to his side was, when people did something bad to him, he returned something good. Because people respect you when they see that you can control yourself. And the ability to control yourself means, like in the case of the Prophet, he took a group of Arabs and they became the greatest empire in 2 decades. That's just miraculous. But I mean, self-control, self-discipline, trust in God. These are the main qualities of leadership. Fairness and justice. If you're not fair, you don't get respect. كونوا قوامين بالقسط شهداء لله. This is what God says. Bear witness for justice. I mean, as witnesses in front of God. I don't think that's a perfect translation. Definiteness in decision. You know, we were talking about sabr as persistence. Whatever happened, I mean, people who waver, they usually don't get to the point, okay? They don't get to the place they want to get to, okay? But people who have persistence and trust in the plans, even when something bad happens, these are the people that get there, you know? So these are qualities that we need to learn from them. And it's actually, I was talking to my brother, and everything in this book was so utterly Islamic. I mean, in the sense that the guidance of God is so complete, and people just, when they do research, they find out that, you know, the best qualities are in fact these ones. And it's amazing, he was sharing it with me, that Napoleon Hill, as an example of persistence, he actually quotes the biography of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. So these are amazing things, really. Definiteness of plans, you know, successful leaders must plan their work, okay? So you will find this actually. One of the things scholars emphasize is that you shouldn't get a wrong idea about tawakkul, about trusting God. Why? One of the evidences they show you is that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he planned every single thing. Like, for example, in his battles, his expeditions, he could have said, well, God, just do it. But he never said that. He planned it. And when they made a mistake, he tried to fix it. Everything was very human and very real. And the Prophet seek counsel. You know, that's the concept of shura. He sat down with his companions. Like in the Battle of the Trench, you'll find Salman the Persian. He decided to build like a trench. And this was like a new strategy to the Arabs, you know, for the warfare. And the Prophet didn't say, this is new, this is from the Persians, from the Kuffar. No, it's a good information and we can use it, you know. So that's some amazing qualities there in planning. Planning and getting the people who have the knowledge to help you. And this is something we'll find in the concept of shura. And the Quran emphasizes this, that it actually emphasizes to the Prophet, whenever they made a mistake, you ask forgiveness for them, okay? وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ. You ask forgiveness for them. وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ. I think I'm missing one of the phrases, but I just want to get to this point. شَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ. Just ask them for counsel in the issue, okay? It's amazing because the Prophet could just get revelation and take the perfect decisions, but God is teaching people. You, as a leader, the best of leaders, who is the messenger of God, you also need to take advice from other people, okay? And actually this creates in the people that surround you a sense of worth, okay? And people, they don't always want money. They also want worth, you know, to be valued as human beings. I'm just going to end up pleasing personality. I mean, doing more than you're paying for, you know. Sorry about, I just want to give an example. I was amazed. One of the things that amazed me from the biography of the Prophet Muhammad is that whenever there was a battle, some companions say that when the battle became just too difficult, they ran behind the Prophet. And he was in the first line, okay? So he was not sitting down and telling people, just go you and do it, okay? He was doing it himself. This is one of the qualities. Another of the qualities is a pleasing personality, okay? And this is actually the same verse I was telling you. What God tells the Prophet is that it is a rahmah from God. It is a rahmah from Allah, a mercy from God, linta lahum, that you were merciful to them. And if you had been غضًا غليظ القلب, if you had been hard-hearted, they would have run away. لانفضوا من حولك, okay? So mastery of detail and willingness to assume full responsibility for mistakes and shortcomings. I just want to emphasize this point. Whenever something is bad, what the Quran says is هذا من عند أنفسكم. Something you have been doing wrong that has led you to this situation. But what you need to do now, just sit down and cry? No, learn the lesson and move on, because you needed to learn that lesson. I just wanted to share these points about leadership, because I think this is the personality of the believer. And I was talking to him also. We found out that as a Muslim, as a practicing Muslim who struggled to develop an Islamic personality, when you read books about success, you find out that 80% of the job is already done.
Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to mention something that he mentioned. He said accurate analysis of over 25,000 men and women who had experienced failure disclosed the fact that lack of decision was near the head of the list of the 30 major causes of failure, which obviously I'm not going to go over it. But there is he actually stated 30 causes of failure, which I highly recommend you guys to go back to the book and check them out and actually write them down. And I would advise to look at them. I would advise myself and you guys to look at them at least once a week until it sinks in your mind. And something that I wanted to mention as well is that the majority of people who fail to accumulate money sufficient for their needs are generally easily influenced by the opinions of others. So these kind of people, when they hear about a business in this, most of the times, most of the people really, like people who actually are going to take all of this knowledge and understand it and apply it is 1% of the whole population basically. So most of the people, we actually influenced by other people's opinions to the point where it makes us stop chasing our dreams and just go back to whatever the other person is doing, and he's actually just trying to influence you because he feels like you're trying to do something else. Sometimes it might be because of envy, sometimes it might be because of whatever it might be. But yeah, these two things, I wanted to mention them. And I'm gonna just throw the third one, is that capital consists not alone of money, but more particularly of highly organized, intelligent groups of men who plan ways and means of using money efficiently for the good of the public. So I would take this as, not all the time, and this is something as well, one of the main points that he teaches you in this book is to do things through a mastermind group, and that what is the word that says that is a group of men, that intelligence or power is basically not power, is a group of people basically who have this same type of mindset, who are able to do big things like this, not just by staying like, sometimes me myself, this is one of the mistakes that I did in the beginning, is that most of everything that runs in my business, I will try and do it myself, by myself. And most of the times you can get things done quicker and easier and better if you actually find the right people, even if it's going to take time. And one of the advices that Napoleon Hill gives is to not build your mastermind group to more than 12 people, and the less the better. So 3 people, it will be perfect. So obviously my mastermind group right now is only me and Karamy when it comes to actual investments and whatnot. But yeah, these are my 3 points that I want to mention.
I don't think there's a lot of things to add about the power of the mastermind. The mastermind is the idea that when 2 people, I had some notes here also. Well, he said it as well. 2 minds come together. They create like a third thing, like a connection between these 2 minds. That's a third thing. And I believe that the power of these psychic things is very important to keep in mind. If you are with someone who shares the same goal and the same mindset, and remember that the Prophet ﷺ said, "Al-mar'u ala dini khalilih." The person is upon the deen of his khalil, the one that he takes as an intimate. And deen, by the way, doesn't only mean religious beliefs. Deen is the way of life, okay? So, for example, we'll find that a lot of the descriptions in the Quran about the true Muslim or the true mu'min tell you about having sabr, being patient, being persistent, being ethical in your treatment of the parents, being ethical in the treatment of other people. So deen is the whole package. You will take all your lifestyle from the person that you put into your intimate circle. So you need to be wary of the one you're bringing in. So the Prophet said, فَلْيَنْظُرْ أَحَدُكُمْ مَنْ يُخَالِلْ. Now, each one of you should analyze. I think that's the word. Who you bring in your personal area, you know. So the mastermind means that you need to take into this personal area people who you believe that share a goal, and they share the passion, they share the desire, as Napoleon Hill calls it, the burning desire to get to a goal, and the effort. The mastermind actually means that you have a group of people, intelligent people, that share the same goal and put on the effort synchronously to get to that place. And sometimes I have to admit that it's difficult to find it. It's difficult, but once you have it, it's much more than any quantity of money, okay? And let me insist on this point. Throughout this whole video, I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about success in general. If you want to get money to help your family, you need to succeed in that. If you want to, I don't know, build a business, you need to succeed in that. If you want to build an Islamic institution, that's, for example, one of my goals, you need to succeed in that. And actually, of course, as a Muslim, you need to succeed spiritually and in the akhirah. But everything is together, okay? That's what I'm saying. You don't need to separate. And this is the mastermind thing. When you have near you a negative person, just as he said, there are people that they're going to tell you that it's not possible, you won't be able, you can't do it, this is not your capability, you're too short, you're too tall, you're too white, you're too black, you're too whatever. Don't listen to that. Because if you listen to that enough times, that will become a belief. You know, you need to remember that whatever is repeated a lot to your mind, it becomes a part of your subconscious. That's why in the Quran it is so important to repeat, in Islam, to repeat the words of truth and the words of trust and the words of gratefulness, because that's going to become your personality. So the mastermind, this is an amazing concept. Now take a look at this concept from Islam. The Prophet ﷺ is reported to have said, Al-aynu haqq. The evil eye is true. Okay, and I believe this is something we should be wary. When you are surrounded by people who are negative or people who have envy, now be careful, because that will transfer to your subconscious. You believe that person, I don't care, it's not going to affect me. That's not true. It is going to affect you one way or another. The way he talks or she talks, the way he moves or she moves, the way he looks at you or she looks at you will end up transferring that negativity or that envy to your subconscious, and that will affect you. Okay, so you need to be wary about the people you have nearby. And the concept of the mastermind is one of the most amazing concepts of this book. Now, I just want to mention two small points. One of them is about sexuality. The author makes a great deal about people controlling their sexuality and their sexual impulse. And actually, he also talks about not eating too much. And it's amazing because, you know, most of the classical books on tazkiyah, on growing your personality as a Muslim, deal with two things. Actually, some scholars wrote about kasru shahwatain, breaking, destroying these two desires. That doesn't mean that you don't eat or you don't have sex within marriage. This means that if you do not control these basic instincts, they will rob you of your energy and your humanity. And again, this is applicable to success in this life, in whatever you want to do, and success in the hereafter. Isn't it amazing that the same things apply to both arenas? So keep this in mind. You need to learn self-discipline. And I would say that here, meditation, dhikr, and prayer are very important, because God himself says in the Quran, Inna salata tanha anil fahsha'i wal munkar. This prayer, that you have this appointment with God, it will move you away from al-fahsha, from indecency, and from munkar, the evil things. And this is something he and me, we have both experienced. In our teenage years, we used to have a different lifestyle. We used to party and do things, you know, we were not practicing. When we began practicing and praying, it was a few months probably, or a few weeks, that we stopped doing those things. Why? Because there is a programmation that you're doing to your personality through these rituals. So get your dhikr and get your salah together. I mean, I don't know if that's the right expression, but fix them, okay? Fix them.
Get things together.
Yeah. So, and the last thing, the author speaks about the sixth sense. You know, we have like this sixth sense that we don't know how to explain it. Different people have given it different names. Like, for example, he mentioned some of the interesting words: creative imagination, It's acting as a guiding angel, you know, something that you have that will help you subconsciously pick information from other people's subconscious, you know. It's just amazing. If once you develop this sense, this sixth sense, you are able, you have other people around you, they have skills, they have knowledge, they have a good vibe, and you're able to pick that vibe, you know. And this is, I believe, this is what the Quran calls basira. This is like insight. It's like sight. This is what the Quran calls basira. Okay, basira doesn't mean the eyesight, but it means an insight. You can see from the inside things. Okay, you have like this insight. That's the word, actually. So I believe it's important for you to become a person of knowledge. Actually, the Quran links insight, basira, with being a person who observes the heavens and the earth, observes the signs of God. And I believe that by getting knowledge, by reading, by becoming intelligent, you develop this sixth sense. You are able, when people talk or before people talk, you're able to get something of what they are about. How? Because you have this inner thing. And this is one of the things that pushes us. And it pushes us to develop the creative imagination. So I really do believe that we should be studying these things, teaching these things. And actually, this enforces people's iman in the perfection of this way, of this sharia, okay? Sharia, I don't mean like a state. I mean a way of life, because that's what the Prophet brought. And sometimes, you know, when you have a gift between your hands, when you have a treasure, you don't value it. Why? Because it's in front of you, but you need to value it.
Yeah, the last thing that I want to mention is, which I was actually talking about that I couldn't remember, is that power is essential for success in the accumulation of money. I'm talking about money. Plants are inert and useless without sufficient power to translate them into action. So what he means by power in here, power may be defined as organized and intelligently directed knowledge. So that's what I'm talking about when it comes to accumulating money. Sometimes you need someone who knows about accounting. Sometimes, I mean, not sometimes, all the time probably, mainly in the society that we live in. Sometimes you might need someone who knows about graphic design. Sometimes you need someone who knows how to talk, someone who knows how to do this, how to do that. So I did experience that, and I was trying to become good at everything, and this is something that just realistically doesn't happen, and you just become a jack of all trades. And yeah, I'm gonna finish by this, and I'm gonna give Karamy the last word, and then we're gonna close with this hour and so.
Okay, the last thing I wanted to share you, two verses from the Quran. One of the worst things that limits people in their success in the hereafter and whatever they want to achieve in the world is fear. And this is something the book warns us about. When I say the book, I mean the Quran, of course, but also any book written by someone who has done research on what limits us and what helps us to grow. They will find out this. Okay, this is like a common trend. Beware of fear. Okay, and as a Muslim, you should beware of fear. People try to instill you fear, even through religion. I'm not saying that it doesn't. I mean, religion is a tool. People can try to instill you fear through religion. Okay, so be careful when it comes to fear. Of course, you have khashiyah. When it comes to God, okay, you have this reverence, because you know, and you have fear for His punishment if you do evil things, if you do bad things. But you have trust. Okay, Islam is a religion of balance. You have trust. Okay, scholars say that hope and fear, it's like a bird, and hope is one of the wings, and fear is the other wing. Okay, so if you have one or the other, or one of the two wings weighs too much, much more than the other, of course the flight won't be able to fly. Okay, it will lose the balance, and this is a religion of balance. وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. We have made you a nation of balance. You know, that's our identity. What's your identity? You eat biryani? No, my identity is actually that we are balanced people, okay, and we trust God, and we do things knowing who is in control. Now, the two verses I wanted to share with you. One of them is in actually Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 268, and it says, "Ash-shaytanu ya'idukum al-faqr." Ash-shaytan promises you with poverty. Why did I bring this verse? When something is extremely evil, God links this thing to the main source of evil, which is ash-shaytan. So when God speaks about al-fahsha, he constantly, over and over again, links it to ash-shaytan. Ash-shaytan wants you to become fahish. Ash-shaytan wants to order al-fahsha. And one of the other things that God links to fear, to shaitan, is fear. So I think we are not aware of the evils of fear, of having a fear of poverty, like in the case of this verse. وَيَأْمُرُكُمْ بِالْفَحْشَةِ. There you go. And shaitan promises you with fear of poverty. He promises you poverty, and he orders you with al-fahsha, that means indecency. Wallah, but on the other side, God, يَعِدُكُمْ مَغْفِرَةً مِّنْهُ وَفَضْلًا. What he is promising you is forgiveness and fadl and favors, gifts. So you need to choose which mindset you want to have. Wallahu wasi'un alim. God is his gifts, that's what it means. He is extends, okay? That would be a translation. He is all-encompassing, okay? And knowing. And now the other verse I wanted to share with you is in Surah Ali Imran, verse 175. And it's amazing. It's revealed within the context of the Battle of Uhud, when non-Muslims, who were a great group of people, they come upon Muslims. And Muslims are supposed to, according to the hypocrites, we are supposed to be fearful now because we're going to be defeated, But what is God telling them? You have a goal, and your goal is good, and you trust God, and everything is in good hands. And this verse says, إِنَّمَا ذَلِكُمُ الشَّيْطَانِ. All this stuff going on, all these words, all these feelings, this is ash-shaytan. This is the main devil, or the main force for evil. يُخَوِّفُ أَوْلِيَاءَهُ. He puts fear into his allies, or it can also be translated as he uses his allies to instill fear. Okay, his allies are those people who are saying bad words and thinking bad about God. Okay, فَلَا يَخَافُوهُمْ. Do not fear them. Okay, this is the verb. Okay, the fi'l al-amr. Do not fear them. Okay, لَا يَخَافُوهُمْ. فَلَا تَخَافُوهُمْ. Okay, of course, وَخَافُونَ. And God says, do not fear them, fear me. Okay, and you know that the fear of God is balanced with hope. Okay, in kuntum mu'minin, if you are truly believers. So all of you guys who are listening to this, if you are truly believers, don't let people tell you, you won't be able, you can't do it, you can't do that, you're too black, you're too white, you're too short, because actually you're giving them a power that they don't have. Okay, but if they repeat that enough times, you will end up believing it. So that's all I wanted to say. Actually, I just wanted to say that I really feel weird or awkward by talking with this clothing. Usually when I talk in public, I wear like a regular Western clothing. So some of you guys maybe know me from my dawah in Spanish, and you're kind of surprised. I'm actually coming from an African country, and I like this kind of clothing. Okay, I just wanted to say that. But maybe the Spanish-speaking audience needs to, a different flavor. I don't know. Allahu Alam.
Alright guys, well, we actually took this so long or so far, so we're gonna end up by just saying go ahead and read the book, and you will understand a little bit more. Like all of these we just mentioned, to be honest, the book, the first, is not gonna be enough for you to read it once. Even me myself, after reading in English, I bought it in Spanish to go over it in another language, because Spanish is my first language, so it might sink in easily. And yeah, I really recommend you guys to go ahead, get the book. You don't even need to buy anything. It's on YouTube. If you go on YouTube, what I advise you guys to do is go on YouTube, type Think and Grow Rich audiobook. It's about 10 hours long. Obviously you can speed it up, whatever you want to do, and at the same time get the PDF on Google. And as you look at the book, listen to the audio, and this is gonna be easy. Don't just listen to the audio and be walking around like I was doing the first time that I actually listened to, because it's not gonna, this is not a book just to go over it like this, like I said in the beginning of the video. So what I would advise you is for you to take free time. Go ahead. What I was doing myself, I was going to Starbucks, just sitting down, take a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or whatever your preference is. Look at the book and listen to the audiobook 3 times a day. 3 times a day. In 3 days you should be done with the book, or 3 or 4 days. All right. So So yeah, guys, hopefully you guys like this. If you actually watch all the way up until here, comment down below something specific so I know you actually watch all up until here. Comment yo, I don't know, man. Comment Halal Money Team. That's what I want you to comment. Halal Money Team, all in capital letters, down on the comment section, and we might make you part of the mastermind group. Alright. So it's been Mr. Halal Money in the building with your brother Karamy, Signateh in the building. If you guys speak Spanish as well, you're gonna follow. If you want to follow him, because some people in the group they said if he has a YouTube channel, some people on Instagram as well asked. So now he's focusing on Spanish da'wah. Later on, inshallah, hopefully he will come strong into the English speaking da'wah. And yeah, I'm gonna let him finish this video while I kind of close everything.
Okay, the last thing I want to share is that I'm very much into audiobooks. So I listen to a lot of audiobooks, you know, whenever I'm working, for example, I'm doing different things. When I came to this audiobook, of course, in the beginning of the audiobook, it says that you need to sit down and take notes. So I was like, I mean, that's too much for me. But I was talking to him and I said, okay, whatever, I'm going to do it. And I don't regret having done it. So people become people who sit down, who study, who read, who write. That's what the Muslim should be, okay? That's what we should be. We shouldn't be ignorant people that don't have aspirations. You know, that's bad. That's wrong. That's not part of our identity, or it shouldn't be. Now, if you want to follow me, I just do da'wah in Spanish. Spanish, as I said, my mother is Spanish, like his mother. Spanish is my mother tongue, you know. So if you just go to my Instagram is Karamy, Karamy ¿cómo se llama la barra baja? Underscore SQ. Please write the underscore, because I have another account without the underscore and people are just adding me to the other account. So Karamy underscore SQ. And if you want to find me on YouTube, just my YouTube channel is called Adam TV, like ADAM TV, okay? Or if you don't find it, just write Adam TV, just type Adam TV Karamy, okay, and you'll be able to find me. And then I have Karamy. And then I have, of course, in Facebook, you will find me Karamy Signateh, just as he told you before, okay? So I hope those of you who speak Spanish or have Spanish-speaking friends, please do it, okay? Just add me and inshallah we'll be in touch, okay? Barakallahu fikum for listening. It's been an amazing experience for me to read this book, to share my thoughts with the brother. We always talk about Islamic knowledge, but this has been like a very positive experience as well. Barakallahu fikum. May God bless you.
Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum.